Hello guys, welcome back to another video. This is your performance management tutor, Sir Uzair Awan. In today's video, we'll be covering the Kaplan kit of ACCA performance management exam. We'll start with question number 1, the MCQs, and we'll see how many we can cover in today's video, okay? So without further wasting any time, let's quickly start with our MCQs. Now this is our section A for the objective test questions, the OTQs. So let's start with the very first question. Now these few chapters are theoretical, right? Alright, so question number 1 says, which two of the following are typical advantages of investing in a new information system? So first of all, which two? We have to tell them two advantages of investing in a new information system, okay? Now if you look at the first option that we have, it says enhance compatibility with other systems. Now this is definitely wrong. Why? Because you know that compatibility is often a problem when implementing new system, since old and new system might not integrate that smoothly, right? So whenever you are basically trying to integrate or implement a new system, then compatibility becomes a big problem. The old system might not integrate smoothly with the new system. So you cannot say that there's going to be enhanced compatibility with other system. No. Okay. Then it says enhanced information processing capacity. Yes, that is correct, because a new system is designed to process info faster, better, and with fewer errors, right? So yes, it is going to process, the processing capacity is going to be enhanced. Okay. Now the third option says enhanced information processing efficiency. So yes, see, a new system should allow the organization to handle more data and do it more efficiently, right? So yes, if you are investing in a new information system, it must have enhanced processing capacity and enhanced processing efficiency, right? That's the whole point. So yeah, this is also correct. Now look at the last option. It says enhance staff training needs. Now the problem is it says staff training. Now staff training is a cost, it's a requirement, it's not an advantage, right? So enhanced staff training needs, again, it's a cost, it's a requirement, it's not an advantage. So that's not an option. The only two options we have that are correct are 2 and 3. Okay, moving on to question number 2. Now it says an airline wants to provide access to a select group of travel agents to real-time information held by the airline regarding flights which may have the potential for passenger seat upgrades. Which of the following is likely to be used to achieve this? So basically there is a airline company. They want to provide access to the selected group of travel agents to real-time information held by the airline regarding flights. So basically they have this information about the flights which may have the potential for passenger seat upgrades, right? And they want this particular information to be communicated to the travel agents, right? All right. So now they're saying that which of the following is likely to be used to achieve this. Now let's look at the first option. So the first option says intranet. Now intranet is basically an internal networks for employees, and it is basically a software or a network, that is only limited to the internal organization, not the external, right? So if you're talking about airline company, obviously travel agents are not internal employees or internal staff, right? They are external. So therefore intranet cannot be an option, right? Now in part number B, they are saying extranet. Now extranet is basically like intranet, right? But the access is extended to the trusted external parties, right? So it is like intranet, but the access is extended to the trusted external parties and not only limited to the internal parties, right? Therefore, when we talk about extranet, this can be an option because travel agents are an external party, number one, and number two, the company wants to share the data with them, so they are the trusted external parties, right? So therefore extranet can be an option. Okay, I'm not saying this is the answer. Let's look at the other options that we have. So the third one that we have is the internet. Now internet, is is open to everyone, right? It's for general public, right? So it's easy to rule out this option because this cannot be an option, right? And then you have part number D, which is email. Now, email is basically something that can be used. It can be used for external communication, right? You can send an email to the travel agents informing them about whatever you want to inform them. So that's a possibility. But the problem is that they're saying that it should have what? It should have the real time information, right? For example, whatever the company has in the real time, whatever information they have in the real time, that should go to the travel agent. So they want the real time information to be communicated to the travel agent. So email is not the best option for that, right? So therefore our answer is going to be extranet. Okay, extranet is the answer to question number 2. Let's move to question number 3. Question number 3 says a government department generates information which should not be disclosed to anyone who works outside of the department. There are many other government departments working within the same building. So basically, there's a government department and they generate information. Okay? And they do not want this information to be disclosed to anyone who works outside of that department, right? So if there's a company and it has department A, department B, and department C. Department A is producing the information and they do not want this information to escape this department, not even go to the other department. Okay, so they want the information to remain within this department A. That's what the question is saying. And they're also saying that there are many other departments working in the same building, right? So department A, B, C, so on and so forth. Anyways, now it says which of the following would not be an effective control procedure for the generation and distribution of the information within the government department, which would not be an effective control procedure for the generation and distribution of the information within the government department. All right, so let's read the options one by one. Let's read the first one. It says, if working from home, department employees must use a memory stick to transfer data. Now, memory stick is basically what we call the USB, right? So they're saying that if the employees are working from home, they should carry the information through a USB, which they can later use to transfer data into their laptops. But they're also saying that laptops and computers that belong to that department should not be allowed to leave the department. So you cannot take your laptop with you, but they're allowing you to transfer the data into a USB and take that USB with you, right? So this doesn't kind of look like an effective control, because okay, you're not allowing me to take the laptop of that I use in the company, in the department. You're not allowing me to take that home. That's fine, but you're allowing me to take the information in a USB, in a memory stick, to transfer the data. So do you think that a USB is more likely to get lost or more likely to be theft or something like that than a laptop? Obviously yes, right? So therefore this is not really a effective control procedure, right? Now part number B says all department employees must enter non-disclosed and regularly updated password to access their computers. Oh, by the way, they just ask us that what would not be an effective control. So I think A would be the answer, but because obviously it's not an effective control, right? But let's read the other option. Now part number B, as we were reading, it says all departmental employees must enter non-disclosed and regularly updated password to access their computer. Now this is a very effective control procedure, that they are asking the departmental employees that you cannot access their computers until unless you enter the password which is non-disclosed and which is regularly updated. So non-disclosed and regularly updated. So this is an effective control, obviously, right? Part number C says all authorized employees must swipe an officially issued, right, personal identity card at the entrance to the department before they can gain access. This is also a very effective control, because this will not allow anyone who is not from that department to enter into that department, right? So this is an effective control. Part number D says all hard copies of confidential information must be shredded. Yes, that is again a very effective control, that whatever confidential information you have, you are shredding that at the end of the day so that there is no remain, right? And locked overnight in a safe if needed again. So yeah, again, this is effective. So as we discussed, A is not an effective control, and therefore that is our answer. Okay. Moving on to question number 4, it says a small doctor's surgery is considering providing a wireless network for use by nurses to assess patients' data in real time. Okay, so if you look at it, it's basically a doctor's surgery, a hospital, something, right? And they are providing a wireless network for their nurses. So it's for the internal staff, right? To assess the patient's data in real time, right? Now they're saying that which of the following is a disadvantage of using a wireless network in this way? Disadvantage. It says access to the network cannot be limited. So this is not correct because most of us use wireless network and we know that you can, you know, limit the access by keeping a password, right? So this is totally wrong. The network cannot match the coverage of a wired network. The wireless network cannot match the coverage of the wired network. Can, obviously, right? So again, this is wrong. Part number C says the network will be less stable than a wired network. The network will be less stable than a wired network. So yes, this is correct. This is a disadvantage that though Wi-Fi covers a big area, right, then as compared to the wired network, but obviously when it's wireless, it will have a little less stable network as compared to the wired internet, right, or the wired network. So yes, that is correct. And then D says it will be necessary to buy lots of new user devices. So that's wrong. If you are using a wireless network, can you not use your existing devices? Do you have to necessarily buy new user devices? Obviously not. So this is wrong, right? So part number C is our answer. Moving forward to question number 5. Which of the following methods will be least effective? Least effective in ensuring the security of confidential information. Which of the following methods will be least effective in ensuring the security of the confidential information? Part number A says monitoring email. No, it says least effective in ensuring the security of the confidential information. So if you are monitoring the email, then it will be effective to some extent, right? So we cannot say that this is the least effective because this is effective. Encryption of files, effective. Training staff on GDPR requirements. Now GDPR is basically the Journal Data Protection Regulation, right? So if you are training your staff on that, then yeah, that is effective, right? And part number D says universal password. So this is, I mean, you can just look at it and you can say that this is the answer because you are saying that you are going to provide universal password. That means a standard password which everyone can use to access your information. So what kind of security is that? Obviously that is not, or it's the worst, you can say, security measure. I mean, you should update your passwords. You should change them regularly. You should not give access to everyone, only the ones that you trust. And even after giving sharing the password with the ones that you trust, you should regularly update them, and you should make sure that they are regularly updated and keep in check, right? And when it says that it should have a universal password, which means same password for everyone, then how will it ensure the security of confidential information, right? So that's why the answer is D. This is the least effective or the worst security for confidential information. Okay. Now, question number 6 says, which of the following statement regarding technologies and systems are correct? Technologies and system. Okay, let's read one by one. So the first one says network computers can save cost by sharing hardware, software, and data. So yes, that is correct. Network computers, they do share hardware, software, and data, which actually saves your cost. So yeah, that is correct. Now the second one says that an internet provides quick. Remember internet, right? an internal communication network, right? It provides quick, effective communication with the suppliers. So do you see this? How the examiner, plays with the words? It says suppliers, right? So internet does provide quick, effective communication, but that is with the internal staff, right? Supplier is never internal; he's the external staff. So you'll not be using internet for that, right? So therefore, this is not an option. Then it says wireless networks allow business to expand with less disruption than the wired network. So this is correct that the wireless network allows business to expand with less disruption than the wired network. This is absolutely correct. Wired networks basically cause disruption, a lot of disruption in the expansion of the business. Okay. Now the fourth one says the internet can be used to monitor and measure consumer interest. Yes, obviously. Um, Facebook, Instagram, right? You guys know marketing, right? So you know how marketing is done on social media. What is that? Isn't that the use of internet to actually monitor and measure what your customer wants, the customer interest, right? What is he searching? What does he want? What kind of products he want, right? Based on that, you run targeted ads and you try to sell them whatever is your product or service, right? So isn't that using internet to monitor and measure customer interest? Yes, obviously. So therefore, this is correct, which actually makes 1, 3, and 4 correct. So 1, 3, and 4, where is it? Part number C, and that is your answer. Okay. Now, before starting question number 7, just a quick word that if you guys find this video helpful, if you are understanding the questions, then please make sure to support me by subscribing this channel and liking this video. All right, make sure to do that, and then you can continue watching this video. So question number 7 says, which one of the following is not a benefit of effective data visualization? Which one of the following is not a benefit of effective data visualization? Now, data visualization, you guys know that you basically present the data in form of bar charts, in form of pie charts, um, and much more, right? So that's data visualization. Then it says reports can be more user friendly. Yes, obviously, reports can be more user friendly because reports are more cleaner and they're more easier to digest if you present them in form of visualization, pictures, bar charts, data, all. I mean, if you just look at a data, raw data, right? And if I just combine that data into a bar chart or into a pie chart, maybe, right? Or maybe into a trend line, right? That is basically more clean and it is easier to digest than if you're looking at all the data at once, right? So it's not that easier to digest, right? So when it comes to data visualization, yes, the reports can be more user friendly, right? Part number B says improve the accuracy of the data being analyzed. Now this is definitely wrong. If you are basically presenting your data through data visualization in form of bar charts, pie chart, and whatever, right? Then that's not going to improve the accuracy because it's just using the data, whatever data you have provided, is using that to convey to the user uh, the information, right? So it would not at all improve the accuracy because it's not there to improve the accuracy, it's just there to present whatever you have input in form of data, in form of bar charts or pie charts and line graphs and so on and so forth. So part number C says the use of dashboards can highlight and summarize the key information. Um, by the way, we know that this part number B is our answer because it's just, the question says which one of the following is not. So this is the one which is not the benefit of effective data visualization. So therefore, but we'll continue reading the remaining 2 points. Let's read part number C. The use of dashboards can highlight and summarize key information. That is correct. Part number D allows for headlines figure to be presented with an option to drill down into the details. So yeah, this is one of the characteristics that actually it allows you to, present with an option to drill down. So basically, for example, you can have your main information over here. Let's say, just to give you an example, let's say clothing, right? Clothing. And then there's going to be a drill down option which you can click on, and it's going to give you, further information about what kind of clothing, men's, women, children, right? So you get what I'm trying to say, right? So this can be done, right? So it allows for a headlines figure to be presented with an option to drill down into the details, right? So obviously it's not going to be clothing and so on and so forth, but I will just give you an example, okay? So we already have our answer. It's part number B, and all the other options are correct. Now, question number A says, which two of the following are characteristics of effective data visualization? Which two of the following are characteristics of effective data visualization? Part number A says, presented only on screen. So this is definitely wrong. Why? Because do you think that data visualization is only possible if you present it on the screen? Obviously not. You can, present it on a screen. You can print it. You can use interactive dashboards, right? So just presenting it on the screen is not the only option, right? So this is wrong. Part number B says you get real-time information. So yes, this is one of the characteristic of effective data visualization. So yeah, that is correct. It can be used, right? And part number C says high level only. So the problem is that high level means that you are only going to get the summarize, um, only the important summarized detail, whereas that it, like we studied in the last MCQ over here, that it provides you with the summarize with the option to drill down into the details, right? So therefore you cannot say that it's going to only provide you with high level only. So that is definitely wrong. Part number D says presents all data obtained. Presents all data obtained. Um, Again, this is wrong. It does not present all data obtained, because you have to filter out for the relevance. You have to filter out for the relevant information, and only that is presented. If you cannot present all the data, obviously. Okay, part number E says user friendly. So yes, you know an effective data visualization is the one which is user friendly. So it is one of the characteristic, right? So part B and E is the answer. Part number F says guarantees good management decision. How can data visualization guarantee that the management is going to take good decision? No, it can only facilitate, it can only support better decision, but it cannot guarantee. So this is definitely wrong. Okay, so like I said, part B and E are the answers. Moving on to question number 9. Question number 9 says, which of the following statement about data visualization is true? All right, let's start. Part number A. The most common use of data visualization is the creation of dashboard displaying real-time KPIs. The most common use of data visualization is the creation of dashboard. By the way, I don't know if you guys know what dashboard means, because it was explained in the chapter in the study hub. But let me just give you a quick brief that basically dashboards are, the softwares like Power BI. You might have heard this a lot, Power BI, right? And financial modeling, right? Then we have something as Click QLIK, right? So these basically are your dashboards, right? So they're saying the most common use of data visualization is the creation of a dashboard displaying real-time KPIs. So this is correct, but I would like to move on and read on the other options to see if they make more sense. Okay. So part B says data is always displayed in standardized format. Now this is definitely wrong. Standardized format. Do you present data in a standardized format? No, you don't, right? Because data can be in form of graph, it can be in form of charts, it can be in form of pie chart, it can be in form of bar chart. So how can you say that it's standardized? It's definitely not standardized. Okay. Part number C says data visualization refers to data that is mainly analyzed and presented using basic spreadsheet software. So like I said, that you can actually use dashboards. Dashboards are Power BI, Click, and all these things. You can use them to present your data, and that is also counted as data visualization, because you are converting them into high standard charts, trend lines, and bar charts, and whatever, right? So they're saying that you can only do that using spreadsheet software. So that's point. The whole point of the modern tools that helps you to visualize the data is that you can do self-service. You can do self-service, and you do not have to be dependent on anyone, right? So it allows managers and staff to use data without relying heavily on anyone. So if that is the whole point of these modern tools, how can you say that if you use these tools you will need to hire more IT experts and so on and so forth? No, you can handle them your own. You can handle spreadsheets, these dashboards on your own. It's very user friendly and they are, self service. So this is wrong. And with that, the only answer that we get is part A by the elimination method, right? Because we eliminated all these three options. And let's read A again. It says the most common use of data visualization is the creation of a dashboard displaying real-time KPIs. So that is correct. That the most common use of data visualization that is taken is the creation of a dashboard. Okay. So this is correct. Moving on to question number 10. Question number 10 says a company board of directors were recently embarrassed when a very unhappy junior human resource employee emailed details of their salaries to the entire company. All right. An investigation revealed that the human resource director had lent his username and password to a junior employee so that routine maintenance of the human resources database could be conducted while the director was on vacation. Very good. During the director's vacation, the junior employee had used the director's username and password to access the board's salary record. Yes. Now, this is a situation where the seniors are at fault, right? Because the human resource director, while he was going on a vacation, he lended his username and his password to a junior employee. So obviously, if you're handing your personal things that you're not allowed to share yourself to a junior employee, and that junior employee is also very unhappy with whatever he is facing in the company, then obviously they can use it, you know, in the wrong way, and that's exactly what this junior employee has done over here. He has used the director's username and password to assess the board's salaries record, right? Now they're saying which of the following controls could have helped to prevent this breach of confidential information. Okay, let's read. Now it says part number A, monitoring the database system logs on a regular basis to see what information is being assessed. So this looks correct. But let's read the other option. It says building levels of access into the database so that only senior staff have access to board records. Now I know that while you are reading this option with me, you might be thinking that this is correct because yes, the access should be only limited to the senior staff, right? But let me tell you why this is wrong over here. Because over here in this particular scenario, they are asking us that what could have helped to prevent this breach, right? Now, in part number B, they're saying that the senior staff, the access should have been limited to the senior staff, right? This is actually wrong over here because the thing is that the access was already limited to the senior staff, right? It was already limited to the senior staff, and it was the senior staff who himself handed over the password and username to the junior staff. So this is not something that could have prevented because it was already implemented. This rule was already being implemented, but it was the senior staff who himself handed over the username and password. So if he continues to do the same, how can this help you? Because again, senior staff is he is the one who himself is handing over the confidential credentials to the junior staff. So therefore this is not relevant in this particular situation. Okay, part number C says keeping all the human resource records for salaries on a separate server. So again, this is not going to help you because again, if you keep it on a separate server, that is very good. But what if your own senior staff hands over the username and password to the junior employee? Is it any good then? No. So for this situation, even this doesn't count, right? Because again, it's your own senior staff that is at fault. Okay. Part number D says having a policy of regularly updating the password required to access the system. The point is that yes, this is a very good control. But what if your own staff is handing the passwords to the junior employee, right? So if I update my password, today, right, and I myself hand over those passwords and username to my junior employee, so he can just use that to access the information on the same day, right? And obviously he's part of the company, he would know that the next day it's going to be updated, so he, whatever he wants to do, he's going to do the same day, right? So again, in this particular situation, I don't think this is going to be effective. Let's read part number A. It says monitoring the database system logs on a regular basis to see what information is being accessed. Now this is correct, because no matter if, even if my own senior staff hands over the username and password to my junior employee, right, if I will be monitoring the database, I would immediately know that, oh, this senior staff has logged on to the database system, and then I would immediately realize the fact that he is on vacation. If he's on vacation, then who is accessing, right? So I can quickly, catch that guy, whoever is trying to, access the information in the wrong way, right? And I can even see that what kind of information is being accessed, right? So if that is the case, then yes, I'll be able to catch him, right, before he does anything that harms the company. So part number A is the most suitable answer. I don't know if this makes sense to you guys, but I just tried to explain it in the most simplest way possible, right? So I think part number A is the most best answer in this particular scenario. Okay, so the next question, question number 12 says, which of the following is a disadvantage of cloud computing? Now, cloud computing is basically the sharing of computing service, like, software databases over the internet, right? So you share them over the internet. So instead of, managing your own IT system, you basically rent them from a cloud provider like Google, Microsoft, etc., right? So that's what cloud computing is, and I hope you guys know till now what these are, because I'm hoping that you have gone through the chapters in detail before doing these kits, right? So disadvantage of cloud computing. Part number A, reduce flexibility around working arrangement. Now the problem is that it's not reduce, it's increase flexibility, because if you are using cloud computing, it's going to increase your flexibility because you can work from anywhere. It's a shared database, right? So therefore it's increase, not reduce. Okay, so part A is wrong. More reliance on third party supply, yes, because just like I stated, that instead of managing your own IT system, you rent them from a cloud provider. So if you are renting it from someone, you are being dependent on them, right? So more reliance on third party supplier, that is correct. Part number C says higher maintenance costs. So if you are renting from someone, why would you pay the maintenance, right? So it's going to be supplier. It's going to be the supplier who's going to do the maintenance. So the supplier has to bear the maintenance cost. You don't have to, right? So that's wrong. Harder to integrate system. It's basically no, it's wrong, because it's cloud computing, and cloud computing is actually designed to be easily integrated. Okay, so therefore part number B is correct. Question number 13 says the quality of good information contained in reports are more easily remembered using the mnemonic accurate. Yes, so you guys would know this. Accurate, right? ACCURATE. Not the first time you'll be seeing it, right? Because this has been taught from a very basic level, right? Accurate. And you know that A stands for accurate, C stands for complete, right? The information should be accurate, it should be complete, it should be cost beneficial, right? Is not. Okay, that is easy. um Part number A, adaptable to the needs of the user, so that's user friendly. Yes. Acceptable to the user, no, we didn't read that anywhere that the information should be acceptable to the user or it's not a good information. No. Why does my information depends on the acceptability of the user? That if the user is accepting it, that is good. If he's not, then it's not good. So that is totally wrong. C, it should be accurate. Yes, accurate. A for accurate, right? And understandable. Yes, you over here basically the understandability, right? So understandable by the user. Yes, correct. Therefore the only answer we have is B. Okay, because they just ask us which one of the following is not normally associated with the quality of good information. Okay, Okay, now question number 14 says an accountant wants to determine the increase in average uses of paper per employee from printing out of emails. She is concerned that paper uses in her business has risen by 10% in the last to $40,000 400. She has estimated that it will take 4 weeks of her time to prepare the report as well as other incremental costs. She has estimated that the total cost of preparing the report will be $28,000. This report is an example of bad information. Which one of the principle of good information does it breach? It basically breaches the cost beneficial. It's simple because you see that the cost to benefit is totally outweighed because see the cost is $28,000, right? And it's going to take her 4 weeks to prepare this report, right? And the benefit is not that much. So because they're saying that she is concerned that the paper usage in her business has risen by 10% in the last year to 40,400. She has estimated that it will take 4 weeks of her time to prepare the report. So she is just preparing the report for, telling the or maybe just presenting this fact to the senior management that see our paper usage has increased by 10%. So if you look at the cost to benefit side, it's not that very beneficial, right? So it's cost benefit, and you cannot say that it's not complete because the information has not been compiled yet. Relevance cannot be understandable. Again, these all are points that are not mentioned over here. They're saying that she would prepare. She has not prepared yet. Okay, so question number 16. Strategic reports have many features. Which of the following is most likely feature of a strategic report? Now, strategic report, it's basically used by the board, by the senior management to set long-term direction, right? So, will they be prepared regularly? No, regularly reports are basically prepared for, tactical, operational level, not for strategic. Total accuracy of past and forecast data. So at strategic level, total accuracy is less critical. They are, more about trends, forecasts, and the big picture. So not precisely correct. Part number C says highly summarized showing overall trends. So yes, remember this that the reports that are presented to strategic level, they are highly summarized, okay? Because at the board level, at the senior management level, they don't have much time to look at the details. They only look at the summarize, and based on that they take their decision. So it should be highly summarized. So this is correct, okay? Part number D says demonstrate only the company's current position. No, why would it only demonstrate company's current position? It will, show them the trend. Like we look at part number C, it says showing overall trend. So do you think that trend can be shown by the current position? No, it is shown by the past and the current, right? So that you can predict the future. So D is also wrong. Question number 17 says long-term sales forecasts are an example of accounting information used at which level of control in an organization. Long-term sales forecast. So you know that if it's long-term, then it's obviously strategic, right? Because strategic level, the senior management level, the board level, they are the one that looks at the long-term game, right? Management control, they basically, they basically just look at the resource used to achieve plan, that what are our plans and can we do we have the resources available to meet those plans, right? So no. Tactical control, tacticals are more medium term, right? They basically just turn the strategies into action, so they are more medium term. So no. Operational control, operational control, is day to day. They are short term, detailed, right? They are short term, therefore they cannot predict the long term. So long term sale forecasts are only the strategic level planning, okay? So part number A should be correct. Now question number 18, let's read it. Question number 18 says a management information system producing management accounts showing margins for individual customer, is it suited to all level of management or only suited or not suited to all level of management? Okay, so a management information system, MIS, management information system, I hope you guys know that it is for middle management. It's too detailed for the top management and too, you can say, too broad for the operational staff. So it is suited for all management of staff. So this is correct. And then we have the CRM, which is the customer relationship management system, which tracks the acquisition, retention, and extension of all customers. So this should be suited to all level of management as well. And then it says the EIS, the executive information system, given access to internal external information, is summarized form. No, this is not suited to all level of management system. It is only suited for the strategic level only, the board level, the decision makers, the senior management, right? So for them, the executive information system is designed, specially designed. So it's not suited for all level of information, for all level of management. Except for that, the MIS, the CRM, they are suited to all level of management. Okay. So therefore, this is going to be our answer. Let's move on to question number 19. Question number 19 says, a manufacturer and retailer of kitchens introduces an enterprise resource planning system, what we call the ERP, the ERP system. Which of the following is not likely to be a potential benefit of introducing this system? Not likely to be a potential benefit of ERP. Schedules of labor are prepared for manufacturing. Not likely to be a potential benefit. So this is a benefit. Inventory records are updated automatically. Yes. Sales are recorded into the financial ledgers. Yes. Critical strategic information can be summarized. So this is basically the EIS, the Executive Information System, not the ERP, right? So option number D is not correct. All of these three are basically the potential benefit, because ERP, the enterprise resource planning, and remember that ERP is basically a software that is used to integrate the key functions of an organization, like resource planning, sales, HR and all that stuff. So it's basically integrate all of them, right? So that's why schedules of labors, they can be prepared for manufacturing, inventory records are automatically updated, sales are recorded into the final ledger. So all of these are a potential benefit. But D, as I said, is for the executive information system. Therefore, this is wrong. Now, question number 20 says, which of the following is an example of executive information system, the EIS? Part number A says, software to identify customer trends and marketing opportunities. Do you think that EIS is a software that identifies the customer trend and marketing opportunities? No. Right, so that is totally wrong. B says, a database management system. No. Part number C says, a system summarizing sales to assess in identifying trends in hiring new workers. So that is basically the management information system. And D says, a system providing internal and external information to help senior managers monitor the performance of the entire organization. So yes, that is correct. Executive information system, right? And it is for the senior managers, right? So this should be the key word for you guys, because you know that senior, executive information system, the EIS is for the seniors, the board level, the management, the upper management, right? The decision makers. Okay, so question number 21 says, you have been presented with a summary reports of sale in the last month with a breakdown of totals per product, and with variances. Now remember that variances is the work of the management, right? So even if you have read the study hub of this chapter 1 and 2 in detail, it was clearly mentioned that the management information system is basically, variances comes under the management information system. They are the one who handles it, right? So when they talk about variances, it's management information system. It cannot be transaction processing system, because transaction processing system basically captures and processes and stores the low level transaction data. So it's not related with the variances and the totals per product. So no, it cannot be an option. Executive information system, obviously not, because you guys have seen in the previous part that executive information system is basically the one that provides the internal and external information to help senior managers monitor the performance of the entire organization, right? So that is a big problem. 22 says, which of the following could be described as an ERP system? Now ERP, I already told you, it's the integration of all the key functions of an organization. So part number A says, a system that identifies trends and patterns. No. A system integrating data from all operation within the organization. So yes, that is absolutely correct. Part number C says, a marketing database holding records of past advertising campaign and the sales generated by those campaign. No. A system that captures, process and store low level transaction data. That is also Not correct, because it's basically the transition processing system. That is the one that basically captures, process, and stores the low level transition data. Okay. So with that, B is the correct information, because ERP, remember that it's basically a system which integrates all the key operations, all the key functions of an organization within one software, within one system, right? So ERP, option number B. Okay, now question number 23. It's basically related to big data and data analytics, right? So let's start. Question number 23. It says, which of the following is not normally considered to be a feature of big data? Now, these kind of questions are pretty easy because you already know the 5 V's: volume, velocity, veracity, variety, right? Now, vicinity. Now, vicinity is something that we have not studied, right? We have not even seen this word in the chapter. So, vicinity is again the odd one out, and that's how simple it is, right? Volume, velocity, variety, veracity, right? The 5 V's we know, but there's nothing like vicinity. Okay, so that was an easy one. Now let's move on to question number 24. It says, which two of the following statements regarding big data are true? It is more reliable than other source of data. It is more reliable? No. Do you remember the 5 V's? Out of those 5 V's, there was something called as veracity, right? And what is veracity? Veracity is basically the accuracy. Veracity is basically the accuracy of data. And do you know that veracity is basically a very big challenge in big data, because big data means that you're getting data from all different sources, right? So if you're getting all different kind of data from all different kind of sources, do you think that it's going to be reliable? Obviously not. You have to dig down, and you have to, find the relevant information. You have to confirm those information. You have to verify it. So veracity, what we call the accuracy, is a big challenge for the big data. So therefore you cannot say that it's reliable. Okay. It can change very quickly. Yes. Remember one of the 5 V's, velocity. Velocity means speed, right? So that is correct, that it can change very quickly. And then it says it can take multiple forms. That is also correct. Remember one of the 5 V's, variety, that big data can come in variety. It can be in form of tweets, it can be in form of comments, videos, podcasts, whatever, right? You can get information from everywhere, so it can take multiple forms, right? It involves dealing with large financial numbers. Now, it it does have large amount of data, but it not necessarily has to be financial number. It can be non-financial also. So when you say that it's just large financial number, that makes the statement wrong. So the two that we had to find are the second one and the third one. And with that, question number 24 is complete. Now let's look at question number 25. Question number 25 says, which of the following statement regarding big data is true? Is true. Okay, so part number A says it is only useful for big organization. No, the small organization, the medium organization, they can also use big data. So this is absolutely wrong, that it's only relevant for big organization. Then it says in part number B, it is also contained, it is all contained on the internet, which is absolutely wrong. That is it true that big data can only be obtained from internet? No, there are different sources from which big data can be obtained. That's what one of the 5 V's, which is variety, stands for, right? That it can comes in different variety. So you cannot say that it is all on the internet. Okay. Part number C says it is all generated external to the organization. No, it can be external, it can be internal. Okay. It can lead to a competitive advantage. Obviously if you have big data, you have different sources of data, and you search it for relevance, then it can give you a competitive advantage over other, because you will know about your customer, about your market, about your competitors in more detail, thus giving you competitive advantage, right? 26. It is often said that big data enhances business decisions. Yes. Which of the following statement regarding big data and decision making is or are true? Part number 1, decision which include big data analytics can lead to a competitive edge over rivals. Can lead to a competitive edge over rival. Yes, that is correct, because see, like I said before, that if you have big data and you are analyzing the big data, which means you are searching it for relevance, you are searching all the information to dig down and find the relevant information for yourself, then it can lead to a competitive edge over the rivals. That is correct. Okay. Second one says big data analytics cannot account for competitors' expected action. Cannot account for competitors' expected action. Actually, it can because, like I said, once you have the information, the relevant information of your competitor, of your market, you can easily predict what your competitor is going to do, or you can, I mean, you cannot be 100% sure, obviously, but you can make some kind of prediction using the data, right? Because you have all sort of data coming in from different sources about your competitor, so you can, use it for, just making a good guess about the competitor's next move or what are their plans, right? So saying that it cannot account for competitors' expectation, that is actually a misleading statement. It can, okay? It can. So therefore, statement 1, which is part A, should be correct. Okay, got it? Because they ask us which one is correct and not wrong. So the one that is correct is statement 1, and therefore A is our answer. With that, question number 26 is done. Okay, now question number 27. Which two of the following statements are thought to be the benefits when using big data to enhance business decisions? There is no need to have a deep understanding of the industry in order to interpret the data. So this is wrong because, see, you need to have understanding of the industry, interpret the data, okay? Because if you don't have the understanding of your industry, how would you know which data is of relevance, or how can you actually make any sense of the data, because you don't have the knowledge of the industry, how the industry operates, what are the business doing in this industry. So you should have a deep understanding of the industry to interpret the data more accurately and more correctly. Now, the second one says the CRM, customer relationship management, can be improved, resulting in better repeated business and customer loyalty, which is actually correct because CRM, the name suggests that it's a software that manage your customer relationship, the relationship you have with your customer. So it can be improved if there's a better repeat business and customer loyalty. Obviously, if your customers are happy with you, then the customer loyalty will go up, right? And there's going to be repeated customers, right? So yeah, this statement looks correct. The other one says business performance can be better tracked and analyzed against a wider set of criteria. So yeah, this is also correct, okay? Because business performance can be better tracked and analyzed if you have wider wider sets of criteria, okay? Then it says all available big data will create value for an organization when analyzed. So not all. This statement is wrong, okay? Not all. Not all. Some is irrelevant because, if you, like I said, you have big data, you have all of data coming from different sources. Do you think all of that would be relevant for you? No. Like I said before, you have to dig down and you have to search for the relevant data that you need. So therefore, you cannot say that all available big data will create value. No, some would be totally irrelevant and thus it will not create any value. So this statement is wrong, and with that, the two options we already found were the second one and the third one, okay? 28. Which of the following is not considered a risk when using big data to enhance business decision making? Not considered a risk, okay? The veracity of the data. Now, do you think, remember I just told you this in one of the previous MCQs, that veracity means accuracy, and accuracy is a big challenge when it comes to big data. Didn't I tell you this before, right? So with that, option number A is wrong, right? Because like I said, that accuracy of big data is a problem. So they're saying is not considered a risk. This is a risk. This is a risk. So therefore, this cannot be answered. We have to tell them which is not considered a risk, okay? Traditional sources of data are ignored. Actually, this is not a risk because you are saying that traditional sources of data are ignored, which is wrong because you are using all kind of sources, and that includes traditional sources, okay? So traditional sources are used alongside with other sources, so you cannot say that traditional sources of data are ignored. So therefore, this is not a risk, okay? So with that, our answer for question number 28 is part number B. But we are going to read the other options as well to see why they're wrong. It says the data may be distorted by the data outliner. So this is correct, and this is actually a risk that the data can be distorted, okay? And it says the benefits may be outweighed by the financial cost. Again, this is a risk that is associated with big data. That big data, it doesn't matter if it's a big company, small or medium company, all of them can use big data. But the point is that everyone should always see the cost to benefit, that what is the benefit that we are going to get from, getting this big data, and is that benefit greater than the cost or no, right? So if it's not, then there is no point, right? That's what they're saying. The benefits may be outweighed by the financial cost. So yes, this is a risk. Okay, so with that, B is the correct answer. And for today's video, I'm going to keep till question number 28. Now after this, we have specialist cost and management accounting techniques. This is the area that is going to start with the activity based costing. So we'll continue with that. I will continue with these questions, but only if you guys subscribe to this channel and show some support by commenting and liking on this channel. Okay, I will try to continue and make as many videos as I can and cover as many questions as I can. Okay, so for today, we'll keep it till here. If you guys still have any confusion in any of the questions, just let me know in the comment section. Okay, and I'll try to respond to you guys as soon as possible. All right, so meet you in another video. Till then, take care. Have a great day. Bye.